Connor, is it McFarlane? McFarlane?
Yeah. Whatever, however you want to pronounce it.
Well, welcome to the show. How's it going?
Good. It's going awesome. It's
Good,
going
good.
great.
Good. So you're a filmmaker. You just
Mhm.
made, was it your first feature film?
This is my second feature film.
I did not know
Yeah.
that. Very cool. Yeah, I think I saw the news post an article about it. And then somebody reached out and said, "Hey, Connor wants to come on the show." Who was it? Who you were talking to? I can't remember.
I think his name's I'd feel so bad. I think it's
Ron.
Ron.
Was it Ron?
Yeah. I
There's
knew it
only
started
two-
with an R.
There's only
Yeah.
two other guys, so it's Ron and Kyle
Yeah.
are the other two guys responsible for the Spark of Madness Film Festival that we're having next year. First question: what first drew you to filmmaking? What made you want to be a filmmaker? Was it a specific movie or what?
Yeah, love that question. The answer I usually give to other people is that when everyone's a kid, like most men as children, put together videos with their Lego figures or with their action figures, or just like came up with stories and that kind of thing. And I did that, as did everyone else. But I just continued doing it throughout middle school. I started to learn more about different filmmaking techniques with like the Lego stop motion stuff. And then just really like dove into that, then transitioned over to live action films with my friends, and I just never stopped, I guess. So I don't feel like I ever had, this moment that I thought, oh, I want to be a filmmaker. It's just always what I've done, and I've continued to do it. But if there was a movie, it'd probably be Cars. That was the first movie I saw in the theater. I don't remember seeing it in the theater, but I can imagine that was something that was really cool for me. Yeah.
Cars. I keep forgetting that you're so much younger than me.
Yeah, that's right.
22, right?
Uh,
Yeah. So I want to ask you about being a rural filmmaker. Have you always lived around East Idaho? You from here?
So yeah, about let's see, it was about 4 years ago now, was when we moved here to Idaho. We lived in Washington State before, so that's where I went to, that's where I grew up, where I went to high school. And we lived in the Tri-Cities, so that's where my first feature film is set, and that's where it premiered in theaters, was in the Tri-Cities. And I love that place because there's such a unique culture and like a love for the town of Richland specifically. I did a documentary about a shopping center in Richland called the Uptown. And I just love these stories about, places that you might not think of, like places that people really love, but that are not, like California or New York, or like these amazing places that everyone knows about. So I do love, filming here in Idaho, focusing on places and people that might go underlooked, especially in, the film sphere.
Yeah, I was going to say, so what are some kind of big differences from filming from in, a city setting to, East Idaho? What are some kind of filmmaking differences you've noticed?
I think one of them would be like in my first film, and whenever I did lots of short films and series and that kind of thing in high school and middle school. And it felt very urban. It wasn't a huge city, but everywhere I filmed was very, like lots of concrete buildings, kind of this just different aesthetic. And so it's been really cool to be here in Idaho, where you get lots of wildlife, you get lots of trees and wide open spaces to film in at your discretion. Thrifters, the newest film, does take place a lot in, thrift stores and different like urban areas that we could find. But there are obviously some scenes where you get to just see the really incredible landscapes of Idaho and the sunsets and all sorts of awesome things, especially the snow. That's one thing I've actually loved is snow looks really cool to me aesthetically. So I love filming in it. It's kind of hard to film in it, but it's worth it.
So is there a specific film, like even back in middle school when you just kept going with filmmaking and stuff, was there like a film that you watched by like an indie filmmaker or anybody where you were inspired and you were like, oh, I can make a movie. This guy made a movie. Like, was there anything like that jumped out, or were you just kind of just naturally a filmmaker and there was no catalyst whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, so that's a good question. I think some of the films that really inspired me to take it to the next level, I would say, to understand that filmmaking was an art and not just a technique. Um, I think I was just going into high school when La La Land came out, and that movie was like, it just blew my mind. Like, whoa, you can like really make something unique and cool. I started watching Wes Anderson movies around that time, so that was also a cool shift to think, oh wow, you can make something really unique, really quirky, and so that started to click in my mind that I could have a unique cinematic voice. And then yeah, then I started to look into indie films. I love like the story of Napoleon Dynamite, going from a little short film into like this huge success, this cult classic. A lot of my favorite filmmakers, actually probably all of them started out with very small productions that turned into huge. I think uh, my biggest inspiration would be Edgar Wright, the director of Baby Driver, Hot Fuzz, because I mean his first films he made while he was in high school. There's what's the one called? There's the Hot Fuzz, kind of like what inspired Hot Fuzz, the police
Oh,
movie
that's
that he
right.
made in high school.
I can't remember
Uh,
though.
yeah, and then there's a Fistful of Fingers, which was
That was the one I was thinking
um,
of, actually. Yeah,
yeah,
Fistful of
yeah,
Fingers.
and I thought that was so cool. I watched, I learned all about his filmography and I learned about his beginnings, and I thought that is so cool that he just, you know, got a camera, made a silly film, and it got attention, and he just kept making things until it worked out for him. And that to me is sort of where the trajectory I'm trying to get on is just picking up a camera, making what I want, making what I think other people will find enjoyable,
Mm-hmm.
and just keep doing it until it works.
Yeah. Are you in it for to be rich and famous? Are you trying to be Edgar Wright, or are you just in it for the art? You think?
I think I'm mostly in it for the art. I like my privacy. I guess I like not having my entire life out there for everyone to see. But
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, I would never reject you know the acceptance of my work, and I want people to see what I have to say, because I like it. I think it's fun, and if other people do too, I'm super happy to provide that to them.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, what was your first? Do you have like a first film project that was like a legitimate piece of work that you can think back on, and what would you do differently now? Was there like a big mistake or anything that you made like in your first? Maybe let's just make it your first short film, and
Oh yeah.
what would you do differently now?
Let's see. First short film. I don't even know. Let's see. I could say like my first serious one. I did because I did like a Doctor Who fan series in middle school, but I don't know if I could really say that was serious. I'd say the first thing where it was like I wrote it. It was my own original character, or like me and my friends' own original character was Swerve. It's a superhero character, and we made several short films and episodes, I guess. And that's what turned into the first feature I made. It's called Swerve the Movie, was the first feature. And I think going back, honestly, it would be understanding that it could have been uh, better received if we had put more effort into it. I was, like, people really liked this character, especially when the film came out. It was like really well received, and especially for such a low budget, low effort thing. And I think that's maybe like advice that I would give myself and give any other aspiring filmmaker is like give yourself some credit. Uh don't not put effort into something, or not put your all into something because you don't think it will be received well, because it probably will. If you like it, if you've put your effort into it, it will likely be received well. So just put everything into it. Don't just half measure on your film.
Yeah, yeah. So, what kind of stories are you drawn to telling? Do you just write like what occurs to you, or do you like I want to write like a heist film, and then you just sit down and write it? Yeah, what's kind of your writing process, and what are you most drawn to?
That's a great question. I think a lot of times I start with a genre that I'm interested in. So with Thrifters, for example, I've recently really been into the heist crime genres. I just got through Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul for the first time, and I like loved that. I thought it was so cool. Baby Driver is a great film, and all of these films, I was like, I really want to do my own take on this. I want to see what I can do with this genre. And then once I have the genre, once I have the basic idea, then I think, what am I going through in my life? What am I learning emotionally and philosophically that I want to insert into this film? What do I like want to say with this? And so eventually when those two things kind of collide, that's when I have a good script on my hands, and I can really run with it. But that seems to be the case with Swerve as well. Was like, I want to make a superhero film. And then it was like, what am I going through? What could be personal to me that I can share through this genre?
What was kind of the personal philosophy in Swerve?
Swerve was a lot about, because that was my senior year of high school. So I was graduating, I was moving on in life, and you can see it throughout the film. It's a lot about, learning to accept change, to the shift from childhood to adulthood, and also like what's okay to keep from your childhood. Like you don't have to reject everything that you love in an effort to grow up. And so that's what I was going through at the time. And so, even though it's a superhero movie, that doesn't really like those themes aren't really compatible with that. It was cool to see that they ended up, working pretty well, at least in my opinion. I think other people received it well too. So
Yeah. Yeah. What about your newest feature, Thrifters? What's kind of your what's the philosophy behind that one? Is there a moral to
yeah,
a moral to the story, and how does it kind of connect to what you were going through personally?
yeah. So for Thrifters, I thought crime, and this one's a little more compatible, I would say. I was thinking about my own experience and the experience of others right now within my age group. I wanted to have a very clear demographic for this film. And I think anyone can enjoy it, but people that will connect with it really well would be people, that are around my age range, and this idea of now you're in adulthood. It's not the shift anymore, but you're an adult now. And how do you provide for yourself and provide for those that you love? Especially when it's getting harder to own a house. It's getting harder to survive in the economy. So it's especially as a young person. And so I thought that would be really cool to combine with the idea of like crime, like you've got these criminals who are used to stealing and that kind of thing, but they're trying to make a better life for themselves. So that's the moral I wanted to share with this one. And that's something that's important to me, but I hope is important to those that watch the film as well.
It's important to me too. Like I feel really empathetic to Gen Z. I'm a millennial, right?
Mhm.
But like when we bought our house, if we like had to buy the same house now, I couldn't afford it. Like, because I think in COVID, like the prices just like skyrocketed, and now it's just
Yeah.
like, man, if I had to buy a house now, I'd be hosed. So, yeah, I empathize. So,
Right.
what kind of hats do you wear on sets? Are you a camera guy? Are you a sound guy? Special effects, visual effects? What kind of hats do you specialize in wearing?
Yeah. So you'll see when you look at the poster or the trailer or the credits of the film, you'll see my name a lot on this one. I love working with other people. I do. I work on a media creation team at my college, and so I'm always, I'm the first AC, or I'm the editor for the video, or I'm the camera operator. But for this film, I felt like in order to make it work with the budget that we had and the constraints, I had to do a lot. So I was directing. I was also the camera operator and the DP, and I've edited the film. I've color graded the film. I wrote some of the soundtrack. I'm in the film. I play a character, and I'm also the producer behind it. I'm distributing it by myself. I'm advertising it. And so it's really cool. Like, I think one of the coolest things about that is that you get to learn every part of the trade when you're doing something like this. So you can understand a little bit of everything, so that when you go on a real film set, when there's like an opportunity there, oh, have you done this before? Yeah, I have. And I think that's what's really cool about being in the independent film sphere. You get a lot of experience, and you get to make a lot of mistakes in a lot of different areas and learn from them. So,
Are you going to delegate more of those roles next time if you can, or do you like to have your hands in everything like that?
there's something that's really cool about being in control of everything, but obviously that's not how they do it on a lot of feature film sets. But I I think what I do like to keep a small crew. I would definitely delegate more on my next film, and my next film's already in some very early stages of development. And it's a little smaller scale than Thrifters, and so I think we can have more room to have other people help out and maybe have an actual camera operator rather than myself. I can focus more on directing. But yeah, I think I don't know. I remember I had this experience once when I helped with a short film, and we had, gosh, it must have been 20 to 50 people on the crew for this, very, very short film. And it was I felt like it was such a hassle to get everyone rounded up and move them place to place. And I thought, we're not using like half of these people at least,
Yeah.
and so that was a good experience for me. At least, if the scale permits to, I think if you've got people that care about it, if you've got actors that know what they're doing and crew members that do, you can scale back a little bit. And I think it creates a tighter set culture, and things can run a lot faster too.
Yeah. What are some challenges you think you face being like a Rexburg filmmaker? What are some challenges you face up in Rexburg? Is there a bigger community up there than Pocatello or elsewhere in East Idaho, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think one of the things was, and it wasn't like that big of a deal, but there's not a ton of people here in Rexburg that are doing that, and so you kind of had to get people from all over the place. We had people from Idaho Falls, Pocatello, Boise, and so it's kind of like a conglomerate of the whole Eastern Idaho, but that's like, that's not that big of a deal.
Mm.
I would say I was talking about before with snow, that actually, like, the weather is kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
I had like this anamorphic lens that I was using for the first half of filming, and it broke. It got so cold that one of the aperture rings like got stuck in place, and I haven't gotten around to fixing it, but like, then we can't use that lens. So there's things like that too, where it's like, just little weird things that you might not experience in other areas of the country filmmaking.
What anamorphic was it?
It was I always forget how to pronounce it. It's a Siri.
Oh,
Siru.
Siriu.
Yeah.
Siriu.
Yeah, it was like the 35 millimeter.
Okay.
So not like a crazy loss, but still it was, it was
good to know those aren't really weather rated or cold rated.
Yeah.
Below.
Yeah. Because they're like solid metal too, so they probably get pretty cold.
Oh yeah. Yeah. How cold was it that day?
Let's see. That day was ridiculously cold, actually. That was we were filming the final scene of the film. We reshot that scene, but it was the first time we were doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And our actors were, I mean, it was impeding their acting ability, how cold it was.
Yeah.
The lens broke, and I'm glad we redid that scene, because it was a lot warmer the time that we redid it. But
that's good.
Yeah.
Are there any advantages you think of being in a very rural environment for filmmaking?
Sure. One thing I always think is, I think your competition is limited, and I think maybe that's, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I feel like in other areas of the country, if you were to say, I made an indie film, it's like, okay, whatever, like, everyone makes indie films, but it's cool to be in an area where making an indie film is not something that you hear about every day. There's not a whole lot of Idaho based filmmakers that you hear about. So I think that's helpful. People are really down to earth here. And like I said, the scenery is great. So I think there's tons of advantages.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of cool being in a small pond. Sometimes when I was making my feature film, I was walking past this family, and this girl goes. She probably thought we were with Netflix or something, but she goes, "Are you guys making a movie?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she looks at her dad like, "Whoa," like blown away. And I'm like, "I'm just making my own little small thing. It's not a big deal, but it's still cool to
Right.
be doing something novel in the community." I told my neighbors that I was making a movie, and you're so novel as a filmmaker in Idaho. I'm like, I'm making a movie. They're like, I don't understand. Like, what is you're making a movie? And I'm like, yeah, I wrote a movie. I'm gonna film it. And they're like, cool. I'm like, all right, you guys are the wrong. You guys don't care. You guys you guys are the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
audience.
yeah.
So it's cool to find other filmmakers in even rural East Idaho. It's pretty cool,
Hmm.
and hopefully
Yeah.
someone else in like some other rural states connects with this, over in Oklahoma or whatever. I'm sure there's
Hmm.
Kansas. I'm sure there's a bunch of really
Oh
rural
yeah.
spots too. Wyoming, yeah, Wyoming's the least densely populated. I mean, they have the Wyoming International Film Festival. That's kind of cool, though. Have you been to that film
Oh
festival?
no, I haven't. That'd be a good one to go to. I
Yeah,
love that area of the country, so I think it'd be super cool.
I was gonna go, but it's over in Cheyenne, which when I googled it is 8 or 9 hours away. I was like, oh man, if it was in Jackson Hole, I would totally go. But
Right, that's like right there.
yeah, we're pretty close. So
Yeah,
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 yeah, fun stuff. Do you think rural stories are underrepresented in film?
yeah. I think so. I think just as the nature of that, films are primarily made in Hollywood, uh, is yeah, you get a lot of stories about people that live in densely populated areas. Um, a lot of times I've noticed like a lot of my favorite films are about filmmaking, but I've realized like that's not relatable to a lot of people. The people making the films are like, "Oh, this is so cool." Like I'm writing about my own experience and that's great. Like I'm sure people love movies about filmmaking. But I think there's a desire for films. You've got a lot of films that cater to both the coasts, but it's like we've got all of this in here that I feel like is maybe being underrepresented. So I think there's totally a need, and I think people resonate really well, especially when it's coming from somewhere that they're from. Like there's like a pride in where you're from and your heritage there. So I
Yeah.
think absolutely.
What about funding? I self-funded my features. Is that what you did, or were you able to scrape some money from other people?
Yeah, a lot of it was out of pocket. I also ran an Indiegogo campaign to raise some money. We're running another one pretty soon, hopefully to get some funding for distribution for the film. And that's like, we got about $1,000 from that. So enough to push us ahead a little bit. But yeah, a lot of time it's a labor of love. It's a passion thing. So I'm totally willing to you know put my own stake in it and see what happens with it because it's what I love to do.
Yeah, yeah. And as I guess you wouldn't know this, you're probably still young enough. You can call in favors from people, and maybe the youngins don't mind staying up till 2 a.m. and stuff. But as I get closer to 40, I'm 37. It's
Mhm.
I find myself I don't want to just ask people for favors anymore. It's like how long can I do that anyway? So I ended up having to. Well, I mean, I enjoyed paying everybody on set, so I guess that's a good thing. Were you able to pay everyone on set for your feature?
It depended on who it was, but a lot of everyone that is playing any sort of a major role in the film production is being paid, but a lot of it's going to be equity in the proceeds of the film. And so I'm hoping, I'm like, I hope that gave them some incentive to like, make your performance good because the better it is, the better the movie's going to do. Um, and so, but really it felt like everyone was there because they wanted to be, regardless of if they were going to, if they were going to get paid or not, which they are, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's good
Yeah.
because I found out, like, I was like, okay, I'll pay everybody and that'll motivate them to show up every day and do a good job. But I found out it doesn't always. You can pay people and
Hmm.
they will show up and they will like phone it in. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think at the beginning, it's probably important to kind of filter those people out and figure out who is like genuinely interested in making the movie, and then get them to help out and not just, oh, I'll pay you, and they'll be like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take your money. I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not sure exactly how to go about getting a bunch of motivated people to show up
Yeah.
for your movie though. Do you just how do you do it?
Yeah, that's a great. I was hoping you'd ask me that because I kind of wanted to like hype up my actors a little bit. I I feel like you know, I don't just cast anyone. I'm not. I feel like I really want to work with people that I want to work with, especially the amount of hours we're going to be together. And so beforehand in the casting process, I'd say, okay, you want to be in the film? Let's sit down. Let's have some lunch together and let's talk about it. Let's talk about like what you want to accomplish as an actor, why you want to be in this film, what you feel the character should be. So Hondo Hendricks, the lead actor, I mean, that guy is motivated as you can possibly be to be an actor. He has such a passion and like, I mean, that is like his life calling is to be an actor. And so it was really cool to see that. And that is something because the first film I made, it was all volunteer, it was all just my buddies and not no one. There was a couple people that were passionate about it, but not a lot of people really wanted to be there
Mm-hmm.
after like the first day. They're like, oh,
Yeah, exactly.
wait, we have to actually like work on this.
Mm-hmm.
But these people were, I mean, just absolutely. Lexi Van Leuven, the lead actress, is just an amazing actress as well.
Oh, Lexi, yeah, she reached out on Facebook. She's been really supportive of the festival, so she seems really
Oh,
cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a testament to she is so involved in the Eastern Idaho filmmaking sphere. I've seen her in a lot of short films, and I just wanted to get and work with people that cared about it. And so I think it's a lot of in-person interaction and kind of testing like, okay, like how willing are, Hondo lives in Pocatello, and it's like, we had to figure out a way to get him here and keep him here. We had our actor Scott from Boise, so he had to drive all the way down here. We got him lodging and that kind of thing. And just the act of doing that showed me like, okay, you want to be here enough that you're willing to, make it here. And that's, regardless of their ability or their experience in acting, I would much rather have someone that's inexperienced but passionate than, an apathetic, experienced person.
Yeah, and I did a lot of my casting. I was in a rush because my family was going to be out of town for like a few weeks, and I was like, okay, while they're gone, I'm going to make a movie. And so I did a lot of my casting just via like Facebook groups without being able to like interact with people in person.
Mm-hmm.
A couple people really showed up. And then a couple other people, I don't know, not so much. So yeah, I think the in-person thing is probably really important.
Yeah, that's what I'd recommend if it's possible, or even Zoom calls are nice, but I think there's something about spending time with someone, sharing a meal, or going and doing something. Like before we started filming, I got the lead cast together and we went had a fun night out. Went and saw the local stuff you could do in Rexburg, went bowling, just hung out with each other and kind of bonded over that. And that also showed me like who everyone was, how they were going to be working with them on set. So, and we all became a big family, so
yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah. You gotta be really social with that kind of stuff. I learned that lesson the hard way. So yeah, I think that's smart.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself drawn to like particular landscapes since we're kind of in a rural community, or do you still try to find yourself shooting more urban stuff? Like, I guess Thrifters, you said, is kind of urban, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, like where I grew up was sort of this like, I don't know, like middle-class urban area. And so that's just the place I feel comfortable. I love going to cities and just like feeling the concrete beneath my feet. Like, it's so weird. Like, I feel like a lot of people get their solace and their inspiration from, beauty, and I do too. I love going out in I love being here in Idaho, but sometimes, yeah, it's really fun to just be in a place that I feel familiar with. But I think there's sort of a good balance and mix of both, I guess. And landscape wise, yeah, I love finding new places, driving out in the middle of nowhere and thinking, what could I do here? What sort of cool scene could happen in this location? So
yeah,
Idaho's got more than enough of that,
yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about film festivals and I want to talk about distribution. You said you're trying to get your film distributed. Are you thinking like through somewhere like Tubi, or are you trying to go through Film Hub, or what's kind of your distribution plan, and then B, your film festival plan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's see. So first of all, Thrifters is going to be in theaters October 3rd. So we've got a theater here in Rexburg and in Idaho Falls that we're going to be showing it. We'll likely have one in Pocatello and one in my hometown of Richland as well. And so we've got a couple theaters. We'll see how many show times. It's kind of like up in the air right now. But people will be able to see it in the theater. And then, yeah, Film Hub's a great resource. I just want to get it on as many streaming platforms as possible. I hope that it's well received enough that it could get bought, but we'll see, I guess. Really, this is about mostly people seeing it, putting my name out there and making connections to make something bigger and better. But in terms of film festivals, I'm a little late on the game. I think this is a bad time in the year to finish a film and get it in film festivals. Just judging by the deadlines and that kind of thing. But luckily we're going to be just right there, just on time enough to put it in some, and none of the heavy hitters, like TIFF or sorry, I'm having a brain fog, but Sundance. Yeah. Like those ones are all premiere status. So
do they still have the premiere status at Sundance?
Maybe not Sundance. I know TIFF definitely does, but I'll have to check Sundance. Maybe next year I could put it in or something, but I just don't know. I want to get it to, maybe some film festivals that it's more realistic, I guess. Maybe that sounds bad. I don't know, but
no, I'm with you on that one, because I'll tell you, I spent $3,000, I think, just submitting to film festivals. So I submitted to over 30, and I don't think I'm gonna do that again. I think I'm probably just gonna submit to like the big ones, just for that chance. The TIFFs and the Sundance. South by Southwest was cool. They actually were really communicative and stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's a few festivals at the top I'll submit to, and then I'll submit to some like regional like networking festivals where like if I go there, I could actually meet talent who would actually be interested in filming in the region and that kind of stuff. So I think I'll keep it to like 5 regional, 5 big ones, and that's probably where I'll call it. What do you think about that philosophy?
Yeah, I think that's a great philosophy to have. I think the regional ones, like especially for this one, it's not like I'm saying I'll never want to branch out further, but I think the reason I created Thrifters, at least from a like career perspective, was just to get back in the game. It's been a few years since my last film, and I wanted to show people like I'm still here, I'm still making stuff, and it's getting better than it was, and just to see who wants to be involved in the journey of my filmmaking and who I can connect with, who I can help out. Like I would love to, go to one of these networking festivals and someone sees my film and they say, "Oh, do you want to collaborate with me on my idea?" I'd be like, "Yeah, 100%. I want to help out. I want to see what you can do and be a help to that." So I love networking. That's why I love like these regional festivals that I can realistically drive to or fly to and get some some connections there.
Yeah, for sure. So big question. What do you think of having like a social agenda in your films? Like, do you ever have a social
Oh, huh.
agenda in your films? Because it can go too far one way where it just feels like concocted.
Hmm.
But yeah, what do you think? What's kind of your personal philosophy on any sort of social agenda in your films?
Yeah, that's cool. I think, I mean, like filmmaking and the way that I view it is like, it's obviously to entertain and have fun, but I think with only that, it's not doing much. It's in order to call filmmaking art, I think art needs to say something or um, to at least like inspire some sort of understanding or change in someone's life. Like that's my favorite films is when I come out of it and I'm like, gosh, I am going to view that differently, or I'm going to conduct my life in a different way. And so I think like social agendas, you're right. Like obviously it can get whatever, whatever your agenda might be, it can be on the nose. And whenever it's on the nose, like I think it can get in the way of a good story. Honestly, I rarely care what a movie's agenda is if the story comes first and it's about characters and about people. And but like for example, my next film that I'm working on right now, I don't have many details on it. We're in like super early stages, but that might be my first film that has something maybe more socially to say. Like the current film that, Thrifters, you could maybe pick up some like political undertones, but none of them would be super intentional, I guess. I mean, there's like some jokes, I guess. I don't know. Like you'd have to
To watch
uh,
it, yeah.
to watch it and like see like what do I understand about this? Like there's a character that smokes cigarettes and believes that they're not actually harmful for you, and it's just sort of like the satirization of that industry. Uh, but the next film should be a little bit more about maybe I'd say on the far end like an anti-social media film, you know, and so I think that would be cool uh, I'm going to dip my toes in that idea of like, okay, what if I say something that regards more than just just like a person's story, like something that we should all consider. So
Yeah, yeah, I think the anti-social media thing's pretty popular right now, which
mhm.
makes sense.
Right.
It can be pretty terrible. Do you have any controversial political opinions that slip into your work? Do you think?
Let me think. Oftentimes, like I said, there's a lot of political jokes, I guess, in maybe not a lot, but you'll find some political jokes within the films. For example, in the Swerve film, there's a little bit about it's a nonprofit organization that it's called the United States Samurai Race. It's like an obstacle course. But then when you abbreviate it, it's the USSR. And so the superheroes get all like wound up about that, and they go and try to find out what nefarious things this nonprofit's doing. They're not doing anything nefarious, but so there's just kind of like little fun bits like that. But I'm not like an overtly political filmmaker. I would say I have my own opinions and stuff, but I don't think they find their way into my work. Um, at least in I'm sure they do, but maybe not in a way that is
Not a
intentional, I
conscious
guess.
way,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because I do see, and I imagine we're going to get a lot of submissions that have a lot of like strong political arguments in them, and so it might be kind of a breath of fresh air to just have somebody just wanting to tell a story and not having,
Hmm.
not wanting to make an argument or
Yeah. No, there's
pursue
no
something.
sides in this film. There's no yeah, it's not trying to tell you to vote one way or another or anything like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a script that you've written that's like your dream project where somebody's like, I like this guy. I want to make a movie with him. And you're like, oh, well, if you have $50 million, here's a script that I have. Do you have anything like that in your back pocket?
Yeah, so I've got a couple. I'll just like I don't want to like spoiler for anything I'll do in the future, but like I'd say the top three would be I really want to do a Swerve uh with like a huge budget. I think it's a hilarious character. I think there's so much to say, especially like in the superhero genre right now. It's just like I don't even know what's going on with superhero movies, and I think it could be a really fresh, or like it could be a great genre to have a fresh and subversive take on. And maybe, I think honestly, if anything were to be like an overtly like social statement, I think Swerve could be that. Um, I've always wanted to do a film in the style of like a Jim Henson, like Labyrinth, or The Dark Crystal, or like The Princess Bride, or some of those 80s fantasy films. Always wanted to do something like that. And so with a bigger budget, I would love to create a story within that world. And then the last one is my brother and my cousin and I made a short film series called Alien Hunters over the last couple of years. And it's just this kind of silly story of these cousins that think that aliens are real, and they go and hunt them. And so I've wanted to do that in the style of like a 1960s sci-fi film, like 2001 or Forbidden Planet, or Star Trek or something like that. So I think those are genres I would love to work in. So a lot of times it's genre based, but I would love to do those.
Yeah, very cool. So you're going to BYU, Idaho, and do you think your faith ever bleeds into your films at all, or do you purposefully keep it separate, or how does that kind of affect your films?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. I would say like, I mean, none of my films I would say are Christian films. They don't mention Christian themes very often, or like by name, I guess. But I feel like, as someone that is faith centered, the way that I live my life and the way that I want to like express how I feel like other people should live their life is usually in alignment with my faith. And so you'll see in Thrifters, like there's themes of loyalty, and themes of like sacrifice, like self-sacrifice, and of truth, and of not lying. And so there's like themes, but those are obviously just themes of being a decent person as well. But I would say, like, as far as faith goes, that's where it usually ends up. But I would not totally like close myself off from doing a religious film at some point. I've totally thought about that. And I think if the right opportunity came along to make something authentic, I think a lot of Christian films can tend to be on the preachy and maybe insincere side of things. And so I feel like if the right opportunity came, I would love to tackle that genre and tackle that topic.
Yeah. What do you think of Greta Gerwig directing? Didn't she just get picked to do the Chronicles of Narnia or something like that?
Yeah.
What do you think of her as picking that? I never read the books, and the movies were, I don't know, I guess they didn't really leave a big impression on me, but I had a coworker tell me, like, Greta Gerwig, she's making Chronicles of Narnia. She's not even religious or something. I was like, well, does she have to be? I don't know. So yeah,
Right.
what do you think of her as a pick for that?
That's a great question. I haven't talked much about this with friends, but I actually am a very huge Greta Gerwig fan. I've seen her films, and I think she's fantastic.
She is.
Lady Bird is great.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I actually like Barbie. A lot of people, it's a very divisive film. Yeah, I'd recommend it. A lot of people take a lot of different things out of it, and I don't know what she intended with the film, but what I take out of it and what I got from that film was actually very profound. I've seen a cool video essay. I forgot who made it, but he goes into like the philosophical implications of some of the things in Barbie. And it's so funny because it's like Barbie, the movie, like has like these like deep philosophical implications, but I really think it does. And I think she's got a good eye for that, and a good Little Women's great. And so I think she's a good choice. I think she's one of the more fresh filmmakers in the industry right now. And she obviously, like, Lady Bird's, I mean, it's a religious film. She's in a Catholic school. There's, Greta has that experience like within the Catholic faith. And so right. I think she has nuance in her filmmaking. So I trust her on this one, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm a fan, so I don't have any complaints, I guess.
I'm a fan of her too. I haven't seen Barbie yet. I like Lady Bird. I just like listening to her. Like her interviews are always so great. She's so articulate and she's good at interviewing other directors and stuff too. So I'm a big fan of her
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
Um I'm sick of CG lions and CG animals, but I guess
Yeah.
I guess that's just where we are now. So I'm not too
Right.
excited for the film. Maybe she can do something. There's kind of a pushback lately for practical effects and stuff.
Hmm. I'm part of that.
Yeah, which I think most
Yeah.
most filmmakers seem like they are. I don't meet a lot of people who are like CGI lions and CGI animals are way better. It's like no, they're not. They're terrible. Have you seen?
You're right.
Yeah, it can kind of work in like a comedy. Like I was saying to someone the other day, Cocaine Bear was okay because it's like a comedy.
Right.
I didn't need a realistic animal or whatever, but
Yeah.
but like Beast with Idris Elba. Do you see that one?
Oh, I don't think so. Is that a new one?
It's a few years old,
Okay.
but
I don't think I've seen it.
it's a CGI. It's like Cujo with a lion, but it's a CGI lion, and it's just like the whole time he's like fake wrestling this lion at the end, and you're just like this looks terrible. Like so yeah, I hate the CGI animals and stuff, but at the same
Yeah.
time with Chronicles of Narnia, I'm not sure how they would do a practical talking god lion, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that'd be a tough one to to pull off.
yeah, puppets might look a little cheesy, but at the same time, you could do
Right.
something like Labyrinth, and puppets and stuff, and use
Yeah.
that aesthetic. And I like that aesthetic a lot better because it's like you at least are
Right.
admitting that this is fake, and you can lean into that as opposed to like, oh, it's a real lion, like Lion King type deal. It's like,
Yeah. That'd be really interesting to see if she would like lean into that, if that would
yeah,
be her if that's the direction she'd go in. I'm
I'm
excited. I'm excited to see what she does.
yeah. I'd be if she goes with puppets and live, and I would go see that. But
Yeah.
if it's just a bunch of CG stuff, like that's what the old movies were, right? Like when they came out like 15 years ago or whatever, it seems like those were just all like CGI and stuff. So
Yeah, right. There's a lot of CG in those.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see. But I like
Yeah.
her, so it'll be cool.
Yeah, me too. She's good.
So I have a question about creative workarounds. Do you have an
Mm.
example that you can think of that just pops into your head for your last movie where something broke or you bumped into an issue where a location wasn't available or you couldn't get the right shot, and you just had to be really creative and make it work and it turned out actually pretty good?
Yeah, let me think. Oh, a really good example. This is one that's this is more of like a crazy, like miracle of a situation. Um but we were filming the first scene of the film is it's a robbery that takes place at a gas station. And we were filming at this gas station after hours. We'd gotten permission from the owners and we were there. We had told the police that we were going to be filming this scene here. We're going to be using prop guns. So if we get called on, like we're doing a film, um, and and then this police officer shows up and he's just filling up gas. And this is right at the time that we're filming the scene that we would like need a police car for, but we didn't think to, I was like, I'm not gonna push it. I'm not gonna like ask him to like bring a police car or whatever. But we're here and this police officer shows up and we think, oh my gosh, this is perfect. So we go over and we're like, hey, we're filming a police scene. Could you like park your car here and just like turn on the lights? So he parks his car, turns on the lights. Yeah. And so we have this awesome scene, this high production value scene of this arrest happening with a real police car with real police lights. I thought that is awesome. So that there's just like little miracles like that. But in terms of like things that creative workarounds that I feel like are actually helpful for the film that we had to do. I mean, there's a lot of examples of like let me think. I don't know. I just the whole idea of thrifting, I guess, is nice. We had it was mostly circumstantial. It's like where you have to do this thing, but it ends up like really being great. We didn't get an actress for in time for one of the cashiers at one of the thrift stores, and so we just asked the lady that worked there. We're like, "Hey, do you want to be in a movie?" So we got her release form signed, and she she acted in it, and she is like absolutely perfect. I would not have cast anyone else. And so there's things like that where you're like, gosh, that just worked out so well that that this happened. You get perfectly timed cars or planes. Like there's a plane in the background of one of our shots, like taking off like on a runway and stuff. Like really cool things that were just totally unplanned. And I think that's the joy of making a film at this level, is things that usually would be planned in a high budget film, you like actually find joy in, rather than just like, oh, glad things are going well. It's like glad things are going better than well. Like we didn't even plan on having a police car. So I think that's fun. It creates like lots of celebration on set.
Yeah. I'm jealous. I had a cop, like a kidnapping in my movie, and I wanted a cop car, and my neighbor was a cop. He's not anymore, but he came out and saw us filming, and I was like, he's like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, we're making a movie. I need a cop car. Will you want to be in the movie? And he's like, let me ask my boss. And then I was like, darn it. And then he came back, no, I can't do it.
Oh, shoot.
They don't want the cop car in the movie. So I guess I got to go up to Rexburg to find some cool cops.
Yeah. Yeah, they were pretty cool here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let's do an exercise. If you have like a courtroom drama, like just basically one location courtroom, what would you do to get a courtroom to shoot?
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how honest I want to be. I would probably overplay the fact that I'm like a student. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm a student filmmaker, and we're just doing this thing for school, for our academics. And we really need to film here, and we can pay you guys. We can, and just like, you got to pull every trick in the book to make it worth it for them. Obviously I'm kind of joking about overplaying the student thing, but I always try to make it worth it for the person or the place that and a courtroom's sort of an interesting one because it's like a government facility. But a lot of times when I film in a store or film at a certain location, I'm like, I want to highlight your location. And that's not even a lie. Like that's a lot of why I made Thrifters, is like I already made a documentary about antique stores, and I wanted to make a feature about antique stores because I love them so much. And I'm like, I want people to go to your store. So you should let us film here, because people will say, oh, that looks like a cool store. I want to go there. So courtroom, I don't know how I would navigate that, but it would definitely be, I think we'd, amplify our reasons for it, and tell them this is a great thing for the community, all these things. So
yeah, I did that with, I think I was technically like, I was a graduate student because I was in my 30s. But I was filming, I wanted to film in a dentist office. And so I was telling everybody, it's like, hey, it's a student film, which it's like, I was not in film school or anything. But I was kind of still a student. And I think it helped. So yeah, you just got to do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes being I don't know, it's kind of like if you're, if you've got a lot of money and a lot of prestige on your side, you can get anywhere to film. And if you have nothing on your side, you can also get anywhere to film, because you're like, I don't have anything. I need this,
Yeah.
So I think you can do it both ways.
Yeah. So I've interviewed a couple LDS filmmakers on the show so far. And like afterwards they'll tell me, like, oh, like this was my favorite movie, such and such was my favorite movie, and they're rated R movies, which I love me some rated R movies, but I know there's kind of, is it a written rule in the church that no watching rated R stuff? Because my wife's family, very LDS, PG-13 only, and PG-13 pushing it sometimes. But yeah, like I'll talk to other Mormons. I call them spicy Mormons.
Spicy Mormons.
And they'll just tell me it's like, as long as it's not, making you feel like bad about yourself or corrupting you in some way, they're fine with it. But what are your kind of feelings on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've wanted to talk about this for a while, because I think it's maybe sometimes a misunderstood thing, because it's not like a like a commandment or like
Mm-hmm.
something like necessarily written down. But it's, the idea is to keep the things that you consume, like the media you consume, to be, forget what the phrase is, but it's like lovely or good report, like these
Mm-hmm.
things that like are helpful for your spirit and your life. And to me, there's a lot of, like there's a lot of PG-13 movies I would not watch, and there's a lot of rated R movies I feel fine with.
Yeah.
Um, and to me, it's I mean, my understanding, if I'm not mistaken, is like at BYU or BYU's film school, like
Mm-hmm.
they like Blade Runner 2049 is like
Hmm.
in the curriculum of like films that you watch.
That's good.
And they're like, these are films that you have to watch like to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a library system here at BYUI,
Mm-hmm.
and they have like 1917 on
That's a
it,
good
and
one.
like all the
Yeah.
and so these are films like that I think, yeah, I think also it's like the rating system is so finicky and kind of like, I don't know if I totally agree with a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can have some things in a PG-13 movie, but then you say that for like one extra time in a
Yeah.
and then it makes it rated R.
Yeah.
And so usually I usually, if I do anything, I just judge by the UK ratings,
Mm-hmm.
which are a little more segmented, I guess.
Are they? Okay.
You've got, it's not just like PG-13R. It's like you've got PG, you got like PG-12, PG-14. There's a 15, 15A, 15 whatever, and then you've got 18. And so that can help me understand. But yeah, it's for me, like I try to keep things in my life that make me feel happy and good, but I think at the same time, there's some things you like. I think everyone should watch like a war movie. I think everyone needs to understand what World War II is like in a way that's not scrubbed down and PG-13.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that helps you appreciate things more. And so, life isn't PG-13. So
Yeah.
I think that's sort of my, that's sort of my understanding of it.
Your own personal philosophy. So
Yeah.
I was talking to someone else about this, and she was okay with funnily enough, the gore aspects and some violence, because she's just, I was telling her it's just like corn syrup or whatever, it's
Right.
but she was very against the nudity aspect.
Mhm.
Do you think you'd ever do nudity in any of your films, or is that a big no?
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever direct something that's rated R, just because I want people that I know to see it, and
Sure.
most of who I know doesn't watch rated R movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the stories I like to tell aren't,
Mm.
I always think if a movie can be PG-13, it probably should be. I don't like throwing stuff in that's like totally unnecessary, and it's like, what? That's ridiculous. Like this. But but at the same time, I don't, even if I did make a rated R film, I'm pretty against any sort of nudity in film. I can think of very few examples that I think are okay, and that's just my personal philosophy on it. I guess I'm very against the porn industry, and when that bleeds into film, and it's like, what is this, just porn? Like like maybe it should, I don't know. Like, I think there should, maybe, I'm not for censorship, but I think there's something to be said there, I guess, on our entertainment.
Yeah, with you'll hear some actresses like, "Oh, I'll do nudity if it benefits the plot." But I've always kind of struggled to feel like how much it really benefits the plot. Not I'm personally not anti-nudity in film. If it's there incidentally is kind of my rule, where it's not just like, um you know you like some boobs, here's some boobs, like they're just superficially. If it's there incidentally, I don't really mind it, but
Hmm.
yeah, I always think it's kind of an interesting topic, because I don't know, I guess I would find it hard to, even with male nudity, like I guess with, so like Thor Love and Thunder or whatever, like you see Chris
Hmm.
Hemsworth's butt. And I guess I'm not. I mean, I guess it's kind of a funny joke. Where do you fall on Chris Hemsworth's butt in Thor?
Oh, well, yeah, I think, I don't know. Like, I guess when I think of nudity, I don't usually I
doesn't count
guess
with men.
at least in that context, something like that. But I think it's I think it's a little less, like in that case it's comedic and it's not even close to being sexually motivated. So I think, or maybe I haven't actually seen Thor: Love and Thunder, so
Oh no,
read all of it. Yeah, I watched like the first 10 minutes, but I think just in general, like I think that is one of my, besides that is one of my like standards that I try to keep, and it's like it's hard for me to like change goalposts on it, I guess, unless there's a very, very like specific purpose for it, I guess,
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Well, I'll think more on this and maybe I'll form some better arguments on or just any argument on how I feel about nudity in film, because I've never minded it, but if somebody asked me like, is it necessary, I'd probably be like, eh.
Right. Yeah.
Probably not. So
Yeah.
I'll have to think about that more on like if it adds a specific flavor
Sure. Yeah.
to a film that you wouldn't get otherwise, or
yeah. And to me it's like a lot of times in films I just think if there's something that's going to push some audiences away and you could take it out, I think it's like I don't know why you would, but I don't know, it's interesting too though, because I just got back from Europe about a month ago and saw thousands of naked bodies and pictures and paintings and sculptures, and that sort of maybe helped me understand like at least anciently the understanding of like the human form and that kind of thing. So I'm always willing to like to talk about it and like change my opinion or whatever, but for now, that's at least in media and film, that's how I feel about it. Art is a sort of different, when you're doing a different medium, that's sort of a different that's a different story in my opinion. But
why do you think
right now,
why do you think it's a different story?
That's a good question. I think for me it's first of all usually the time period in which they were created. And maybe antiquity doesn't necessarily make it okay if I'm against it now. But I think film in general is just such a visceral medium. There's not a lot of ambiguity in it. Like in a painting, there's something else that you could take from it other than just like the visual stimuli of that. I think film is so like realistic and like this is how it is, that depicting certain things might be, and I think that's the other thing too. Like we were talking about like gore and like blood in films, and that like is fake every time. Right. Like they're not actually like cutting off someone's arm for a film. Yeah. But like there's something that's a little weird to me that's like, you're seeing a certain actor or actress actually nude. And it's like,
I was talking with
that's a little weird to me.
Yeah, that friend the other day, and I was like, well, with the violence and stuff, it's fake blood and fake violence, but those boobs are actually real.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and it's such an intimate thing. I think that to share that with someone that you don't know and will never know is a little bit, I think that's maybe more where it comes from for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I want to think more about this. Well, maybe if you come back on the show, we'll talk about it again.
Yeah, I'm like, I'd love to come back on.
Yeah. I was thinking about what's that? Power of the Dog. Did you see that movie on Netflix?
Oh, that's Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah. I need to watch that one. Yeah,
it's supposedly a Montana film. I think she actually shot in New Zealand or something.
It's based in Montana, though.
Yeah, based in Montana. She shot it on long lenses, which wouldn't be my first choice for. I'm from Montana, so I'm very kind of like particular. I'm like, why'd you shoot this on long lenses? It looks goofy.
Yeah.
But you see Benedict Cumberbatch's, you see him naked, you see him full frontal or whatever. And but I'm like, I don't know. I guess it didn't bring me any. I didn't suffer for it, so I guess I didn't have any problem with it. and I guess it adds like in a situation like that where it's not trying to be sexy and like,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
you know, use Benedict Cumberbatch in some negative way. It's just supposed to add like an element of realism. Like this kid, it was about this gay kid who sees Cumberbatch naked, and it's part of his like sexual awakening or whatever. So I guess it adds like kind of an element of realism there that
Yeah.
maybe you wouldn't get otherwise. But I don't know. Yeah, interesting. We'll talk more about that
Yeah. Yeah.
next time.
I'll develop my I'll develop my like thesis on on
Yeah.
my side of that.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is kind of where I'm trying to take, like, so on the podcast I interview, I'll cut this out. On the podcast I interview a bunch of psychologists and philosophers, and so whenever I interview a filmmaker, I try to at some point kind of bend it a little more toward like philosophy
Yeah.
and talk
No,
about
I
it a little
love
bit.
that. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
It makes it.
Because I love philosophy too. That would
Yeah.
be one of my majors I would totally go for.
That was my major,
Yeah.
bro. So if you need to borrow any books, I got
Yeah.
I got my Aristotle and my aesthetics books and stuff back there. So
That's awesome.
yeah. Well, cool, man. Well, I won't take up too much of your time. So, Connor McFarlane, thank you for coming on the show, and I look forward to watching your film when you submit it to the Spark of Madness Film Festival, May 21st through the 23rd, 2026, Pocatello, Idaho. Be there. I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, I look forward to seeing the film, and submissions open in September. So, yeah, set an alert in your phone, and I think it's only like $5 or something for East Idaho people.
Oh dang. Yeah.
For like the first week.
It's
Like
nothing.
I wanted like every East Idaho film to submit basically that could.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, just make it $5. And then Rocky Mountain films, because I'm from Montana and I'm a Rocky Mountain guy, right?
Mhm.
It's also really cheap for Rocky Mountain films. I think it's also $5 for at least for shorts. And then everyone else can still submit, but yeah, they just don't get the sweet discounts. So.
Right. Awesome discount.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be submitting Thrifters. So
sweet. It's still really cheap actually for everyone else outside of the Rocky.
Yeah, I was gonna say it didn't look too bad. So
yeah, I think it's like awesome. Starts at like $10 or something. So or 10 or 15
that's
bucks.
like
that's
awesome.
Not bad,
That's
right?
super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet, man.
Well, I'm excited to attend it too. You know, whether or not Thrifters is in it, I'm super excited to go and network.
Connor McFarlane, thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks, John. It was fun.
Of course, yeah, and we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thanks, man. See ya.
Yeah, see ya.